Hello guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Have you ever tried analyzing your project schedule using the Ray project analyzer only to discover that your baseline is not in line with the global scorecard? Let me show you an example of what I'm saying. So imagine, have you ever tried doing this and then you figure out that you have an error, baseline vertical schedule integration, and you don't know how to make sure that this is in compliance with the global scorecard? In this video, I'm just going to show you how to go about this error, and we are going to look at the critical concept of baseline in project planning and control. So, as a project manager with years of experience, I can tell you that understanding how to use baseline effectively is essential for delivering projects on time and within budget. So we're just going to look at what is baseline, why do you set a baseline, when do you set a baseline, and how to set a baseline. All right. So you might be wondering, what is baseline? If you're new in Microsoft projects or into project management, and you have no idea what baseline is, we're going to break down this concept until it gets clear on what exactly this baseline is. So baseline is essentially a snapshot of your project plan at a given point in time. It locks in the original scope, cost, and schedule so you can measure actual performance against what was planned. In Microsoft projects, this include start dates, finish dates, work hours, duration, and costs. Once you've set a baseline, you can start tracking variances and making informed decisions. Now, why do you set a baseline? Oh, setting a baseline is one of the most practical ways to manage project expectation. It helps you identify if you are ahead or behind schedule, or if you're overspending. Without it, there is no objective reference point to evaluate performance. Baseline enables better forecasting, transparency, and accountability, all crucial for stakeholders' communication. So, we'll be looking at when to set a baseline. In setting a baseline, timing matters. You should always set a baseline once the project plan is fully developed and approved. This means after you have completed task planning, resource allocation, and stakeholder review. If your project scope changes significantly down the line, you might consider saving a new baseline version for reference. So, according to my slide, you set a baseline after project planning is completed and before execution begins, before any project updates or scope changes, and when stakeholders approve the project schedule. Now, how do we set a baseline? So here's how to set it up in Microsoft Project. You open up your project file, you navigate to the project tab and select baseline. You can choose from the baseline or any of the 10 available version, baseline 1 through to 10, click OK, and that's it. Your plan is now locked in, simple but powerful. So let's just look at how to set a baseline. As you can see, this is our Microsoft project, and this is the schedule that was analyzed, and we saw the baseline vertical error. So in setting a baseline, you are going to click on this portion here. Just like I said, you navigate to the project tab, and as you can see, you see set baseline. So you could clear the baseline, right? And then you set baseline. So this is what we're going to do. I would still go ahead to explain more about this baseline. So you could see that I already set baseline. The last baseline was saved on which is last month, which is June. That was when the baseline was set for this project. So we'll be looking at viewing baseline data. So now that we have already set the baseline, as you can see, we've set the baseline, but I will still solve that other issue. So how do you visualize it? In visualizing baseline, you can enable baseline bars in your Gantt chart or switch to tracking Gantt view, which overlays your current schedule on top of your baseline. So you could either, let's just open one of this. Let me just open one of this. So you could just come over here and you could just come over here, you show, and then you click on baseline, and this is the one we saved. So you could select on any one of this. Remember, we have version 1 to version 10. All right, that is one way. So you could choose from baseline or any of the 10 available version, baseline 1 through 10, just like we said. So this is how to visualize it. And you can also add columns like baseline start and baseline finish to quickly compare the values. Just as you can see here, this is baseline start and this is baseline finish. All right, so this is baseline start and baseline finish. But this is where it really gets useful. Microsoft Project calculates variances automatically. Fields like start variance and cost variance show you how far you are from your original plan. This helps you detect issues early, adjust resources, or allocate tasks before things spiral out of control. So as you can see, tracking and variance analysis helps compare actual progress to baseline values. You use variance field like start variance, finish variance, and cost variance. Variance analysis helps identify delays, cost overruns, and other deviation. This is exactly what baseline does. With baseline, we could use it in tracking and in variance analysis. All right, so sometimes plans change. You might need to rebaseline your project due to approved changes. In that case, you go to the set baseline menu and choose clear baseline if necessary, but be cautious always, because you have to avoid deleting the original baselines unless absolutely necessary. So let's just solve this quickly. As you can see, baseline can be cleared or reset if if replanning is needed. Uh, if you want to set it, you navigate to project, set baseline, clear baseline. You have to use cautiously to maintain historical records. All right. So we're going to look at the best practices after I have solved that issue. So in solving this issue that we have over here in the steel ray, that said baseline vertical schedule integration error. In solving this, all I just need to do is to just let me click on it to see the task that is not compliant. We're just going to click on it for it to highlight it. As you can see, it is highlighted this one here. So all I'm just going to do is I'm just going to click on this, and I will clear the baseline. I'll clear for this task, and then I'm just going to set the baseline for the selected task. I could just align it with this, and yeah, so I'm just going to overwrite it. All right, now we're just going to check it out. We're just going to reanalyze it again to see if our error will still be there. So as you can see, it's currently in compliance. So let's look at it. What is actually this baseline vertical schedule error? I'm just going to click on coach. So most scheduling programs allows you to organize tasks in the branch tree hierarchy, mirroring the work breakdown structure if it exists. As you can see, that was a summary task. If a task has children, it's a summary task. As you can see over here, it has summary tasks. Like this is a summary task. It has all of this under it. All right, so in a bottom-up schedule like Microsoft Project, the only information that should be entered for a summary task is documentation. Information like its name, everything else, dates, cost, duration, work should be determined by the value of its immediate children tax. Yeah, so everything, even the total days of this should not be like, I am not supposed to change this. It's supposed to do that automatically on its own. The schedule can be erroneously changed so that there is a mismatch in the roll-up dates. For example, if a scheduler manually changes a date, it may be different from the one that is automatically calculated by the scheduling application. So this criteria checks to make sure that the baseline start and baseline finish date for each summary task are correct. The baseline start date of a summary task should correspond to the earliest baseline start date of its children task. Similarly, the baseline finish date of a summary task should correspond to the latest baseline finish date of its children. If it doesn't, the summary task will be flagged for investigation. All right. So So if you might be wondering what is the baseline vertical schedule integration error, you see the description says look at each summary task and make sure that the next tasks roll up. The calculation compares the baseline start and finish date of the summary tasks to those of the lower level detail tasks. So, as you can see, we have solved this. It is now compliant. All right. Let me share a few best practices from experience. First of all, always save a baseline before starting project execution, right? And secondly, use the multiple baseline option in Microsoft Project to track scope changes. Thirdly, communicate all baseline update to your stakeholders to maintain trust and transparency. And finally, use your past baseline data to improve future estimates. So before we wrap it up, I remember in tracking, we said baseline could be used for tracking and variance analysis. All you just need to do is you have to impute fields like start variance and cost variance to show you how far you are from your original plan. That is when we have begin tracking the project. All right, let me show you an example of how to impute that before we wrap it up. So in adding it, all you just need to do is click on here, and then you can now find you could look for start variance, look for S, start variance, and you add cost variance, all right, or you could come over here and click on variance here. To wrap it up, baseline are not just a technical feature. They are a leadership tool. They allow you to track progress, control costs, and make evidence-based decisions. They enable project managers to stay on track and ensure accountability. If you make baseline management a part of your standard project workflow, you will deliver greater precision and credibility. Make baseline setting a standard step in your project planning workflow.